What's good? It's your boy CJ Goodfellow. We back with the Boston Clinic and more. Talking about some NFL playoffs. We know the NFL ratings have been dipping real heavy. And this is the moment of truth in NFL. If the playoffs don't thrive, they got to make a lot of adjustments of how they, carrying along these major issues. But we're not here to talk about the major issues that they're having. Here to talk about some American hand egg ball. That's what they call in UK. They call it NFL hand egg ball. But breaking down the first round matchups, man. Start off with the AFC, the 3-6 matchup. Jacksonville versus the Buffalo Bills. Sounds like LaShawn McCoy is injured, but he may give it a go with an ankle. He got carted off Sunday versus the Miami Dolphins. And that's a huge blow because LaShawn McCoy is a great running back, and Jacksonville is piss poor versus the run. But it's a bad matchup for Buffalo, in my opinion. Jacksonville defense has been shaky the last couple weeks. They've been immature, getting penalties, stuff of that nature. And Buffalo defense haven't been the same since they traded Marcel Darius. It just ain't been good versus the run. I mean, they just not the same defense. They got some, young, good cover corners. But, what Blake Bortles can give if he could take if he's in a contract year. The last couple weeks, he ain't been playing that good. Buffalo can take the ball away. They can do some things. They can still do some things and lock some things up. But I think Jacksonville just eats by, Buffalo. I would say 20-14. 20-17. I think they just each by Buffalo. It's not one of the more appealing games at all. In that scenario, then Jacksonville will go play Pittsburgh because they'll be the highest rated seed and the lowest seed goes to number one. So the Tennessee Titans and the Kansas City Chiefs game, the winner will automatically go to the Patriots. Patriots, Foxborough. And Tennessee is a team that's underachieving this year. They are piss poor versus the pass, which is not to be unexpected. They good up front and stopping the run, but against the pass, they're not that good. And, they just so happen to catch Alex Smith on a bad year. Alex Smith is very accurate on the deep ball this year. He's still not throwing it hell of a lot. He's not throwing it a lot, but when he does throw it, it's to Tyreek Evans and Travis Kelce down the field, Albert Wilson. He's very accurate. Seems like they kind of fix some things with him throwing the ball downfield. And I expect them to have a field day in the passing game. With DeMarco Murray potentially out for Tennessee, Derrick Henry going to have to get a heavy dose of that. He seems to be too slow to be a running back, but he did some good things last week. And they're going to have to get him the ball 25, 30 times this game and slow the game down. They're going to have to stop Kareem Hunt up front for the Tennessee Titans in the passing game as well. And make Alex Smith beat you with his arm. Even though this year he's doing it, and he probably do that versus Tennessee, that's their only bet. And they control the ball with Henry running. Because their receivers haven't stepped up. Decker, Davis, none of them. It was like last year when they had Kendall Wright and the rest of those guys. Whenever they had, when they had all those guys. You got Delaney Walker. Tennessee is just going to be outmatched. I got Kansas City 28-17 over Tennessee. Kansas City going to New England. Obviously, Jacksonville going to Pittsburgh, which will be a rematch. Just doing the first round right now. You got the NFC, but let's talk about the AFC, real quick. If in that scenario, if that happens and Kansas City wins and Jacksonville wins, I think it's the worst matchups for New England and Pittsburgh. Jacksonville is young, immature on defense as well. They're very immature. A lot of dumb penalties, but they already beat Pittsburgh once. And Pittsburgh is going to have to feed Le'Veon Bell the ball a little bit more in that game. And AB looks healthy, but Jacksonville matches up well. If they can just learn to stop the run, that's a bad matchup for Pittsburgh, And Leonard Fournette could be healthy. Chris Ivory and TJ Yeldon, a heavy dose of that versus that Pittsburgh front seven because Shazier is gone. That's tough. And they suck on the outside. No cover corners. Artie Burns, Joe Hayden, not that good no more. Jacksonville, that could be upset city in the second round of playoffs in the AFC, in my opinion. Kansas City, they already beat New England, even though it was the first game of the season. They had Eric Berry. They know the remedy to beat New England. New England defense is not that good. and Kansas City offense is coming up. You know, I see two potential upsets in the AFC. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I see two potential upsets that if you betting people and you like the odds, I think Kansas City and Jacksonville can get them a good run for their money, in my opinion. They match up very, very well. To go to the NFC real quick to get back on topic, start off with the 3-6 matchup. Some people believe Atlanta can upset the St. Louis Rams going out west. I think people not taking that consideration. Teams that come from east to west have a very hard time maintaining, and they get off to slow starts, and then they heat up in the second half of the game. I don't trust Matt Ryan, not versus the top 5 defense in St. Louis, but the thing what Matt Ryan has on his side, and if his play caller is any good, and Steve Sarkisian, he knows he needs to run the ball 30 times versus the St. Louis Rams. They're another great defense that suck against the run, though. They sorry. So you get a nice dose of Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. They need to run those 30 times in the game. That game, they need to run them guys. And then the play action to Julio. That should be the game plan right there. Have Sanu work underneath the possession routes, and that'll be their best chance to win. But Matt Ryan's been throwing 2-3 picks every game. I expect that to keep going. I know Atlanta, it's upset city alert right here. But I trust Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, and Sean McVay to kind of get past the beginner's stage of playoffs and shake off the jitters. But Atlanta defense has been coming on late lately. But Todd Gurley, I haven't seen nothing like that this season other than New Orleans, Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram, and they got some good receivers. I expect St. Louis to pull it out 31-30, close game, late field goal wins it for for Los Angeles Rams. Excuse me. Even though they got a new kicker that looked like he sucked, I'm gonna trust them to win the game. Very close game. I think that game is going to be the most entertaining game of the weekend, in my opinion. Los Angeles Rams versus Atlanta Falcons. Now, we go over to the second game in the NFC, the 4 versus the 5. People say it's hard to beat a team 3 times in one season. I agree. With the way Cam Newton is looking, he sucks. They get him tall receivers because he missed high. He still overthrows his tall receiver. Greg Olsen looks good one week, look like he sat back the next 2 weeks. Jonathan Stewart is not healthy. Christian McCaffrey can't run between the tackles. He don't have too many weapons. They took away Calvin Benjamin, who was beasting versus Seattle 1 year before he got hurt. Devin Funchess is that guy. And also, Panthers don't have a secondary. Up front, they good. But Alvin Kamara be getting off, though, still on them. And Mark Ingram was still going to get off. So I trust Drew Brees to handle business versus the Panthers. They're the better team. We know they lost to Tampa Bay. They lost focus on the road. I think Sean Payton gets them back focused. I like New Orleans, 36-20 over Carolina Panthers. To talk about some prelude to the second round, if it all happens that way, of course, the lowest seed is going to go to the number 2 spot. So if St. Louis win, they're going to be playing. The highest seed goes to the number 2 spot. The lowest seed goes to the number 1 spot. So, New Orleans will be going to Philly. That's a bye week in my opinion. Philly sucks with Nick Foles. I don't need to elaborate on that too much. And the Rams versus the Vikings. Back at the Vikings, it'll be a rematch. Tough game. Vikings have a good defense team that had a St. Louis number. So, you potentially get another rematch versus the Saints and the Vikings. Back in Minnesota. And we know what happened last time Minnesota had went to the NFC Championship game. Adrian Peterson fumbled it away. So we'll see, man. Let me know what y'all think about the first round matchups. We gonna